Hi, this is Zak Mir with the Bulletin Board Heroes here on Share Talk for Friday, the 18th of December. Starting off with Braveheart, where we've got the conundrum of the aftermath of the dividend payout, etc., etc. That low there at 12 pence, quite a bear trap low, and we haven't traded below 16 since then, which is something to look out for. So let's say, while there's no end of day close back below the low of 7 of Wednesday, we've got at least a retest of recent or bottom of gap resistance at 25.7 pence, possibly on the cards. If you're looking for a momentum trigger, it's probably the top of that inside day at 21 pence on an end of day close. So hopefully then get the shares to push higher. Initially there would be support, old support becoming new resistance, again in the mid to upper 20s for the shares, but quite a fiddly situation, so probably need to revisit that over the next few sessions. Next up, we've got Dev Clever, where still sort of trying to work out whether the shares can deliver a long-awaited break to the upside. We've obviously got that band of resistance there, resistance line there from August. Good support above the 200-day moving average, currently around 7 pence, and the bigger picture target hopefully up towards the 13 or 14 pence level over the next 1 to 2 months. So ideally here looking for the shares to break that August resistance line there around 9 pence to deliver a new leg to the upside. But the longer we stay above the 50-day line at 8 pence, the more bullish this situation becomes. On to a rather more straightforward bull run to look at, and it's Greatland Gold. Wonderful breakout today after a double test of the 20-day moving average at the beginning of the week, or perhaps last week. Current trajectory here up to 50 pence at the top of that rising July trend channel. Looks all pretty symmetrical there, and that could be seen as soon as the end of next month, if we get especially if we get a decent weekly close above 34.75, which was the initial December resistance. Support likely to come in towards the 30 pence area, which is the 20-day line and the floor of that July trend channel, but to 50 pence hopefully as soon as the end of next month for Greatland Gold. Another stock which is going great guns literally is Gunships, where we've got this V-shaped bull flag. That's what I call them. We had the rally. Well, we've had a few things to look at here. First was obviously the break of that resistance there at around 1.5 pence September peak. We then gapped higher at the beginning of the month, and we left that gap unfilled, which is normally a show of strength. And so that all leaves us with trying to work out how far and how high the shares could stretch. At the moment, the best guess is towards the 4 pence level, which would be the top of that rising trend channel from August. See those two two resistance points and projecting there, so around 3 3/4 to 4 pence. Hopefully by the end of next month, and what would help today, I suppose, is an end of day or end of week close above 2.6 pence just to seal the deal for the bulls, but looking very encouraging at the moment on Gunships, especially in the run up to the Rincon IPO. Next up, a stock which is we're looking at on a 1 hour basis, just because there isn't too much charting data, and in fact, ironically, the 1 hour charts seem to have been just as good as, or if not better than the daily charts of late, especially with the new IPO situations, of which Helium One is one of those. Here we've got a rising trend channel on the hourly chart, currently pointing to 11 pence. The break of resistance at 7 pence today or overnight was the trigger for that. So above 7, looking for 11, hopefully for Helium One. Obviously the stop loss back below recent neckline support at 6 pence, but 11 pence I think most traders would be quite happy with. Back to a daily chart sweep, and we had news from Powerhouse Energy yesterday, and that seems to have cleared the consolidation the shares have been in since June, so breaking that line of resistance, currently running at around the 3.5 pence level, above 3.5 pence, looking for fresh leg to the upside within a rising trend channel from April, hopefully as high as 6 pence, and that could hopefully be as soon as the end of next month. But the upside there valid especially while we hold above recent 3.5 pence resistance, which it looks as though the shares will be able to do. On to a stock which looks like it's a real private investor favorite at the moment, Rambler Metals. People doing all sorts of math to try and work out how much this company should really be worth. But the good news to end the week, hopefully, is that the shares will have broken above the initial December resistance at around 0.3 pence. Above that, on an end of day and end of week close basis, we could see the top of that broadening triangle as high as 0.6 pence. If you're looking for a further momentum trigger, that would be an end of day close above the 50-day line at 0.36, but that was obviously giving away some of the upside. The other plus point at the moment, which is pretty positive and pretty hefty, is this bullish divergence line in the RSI window. So we've had lower lows there for November, but the RSI just kept on rising, which is a positive momentum signal, in fact, a very positive one. On to a stock which was one of the rare companies which actually flagged a placing in its RNS last week, which normally you don't get that with potential fundraisers. They're normally kept quiet, but here Remote Monitor Systems very kindly offered that information to the market. Current situation is that we're looking at support there at 0.9 pence from last month, and the last neckline resistance at 1.28 pence, rather at 1.55 pence. So basically, in order for this to be back on a bear trajectory, we'd want to see an end-of-day close back above 1.55 over the next few days. Obviously, at the moment, there's the risk of either 0.9 or at least down towards the 1 penny area, which is the floor of that falling trend channel from early November. But the first trigger there, an end-of-day close back above 1.55 for the bulls. Moving along to Synergen, which I have to say was covered here at the weekend and actually has surpassed expectations, I would say. The view then was that there was a chance that if we broke 95 pence, so we'd have a nice push to the upside up towards the 200-day line, currently at £1.11. But obviously we managed to gap through both the 200 and the 50-day line, which is very rare and a very special occurrence. Current situation here is that while we're above the end of day, above the 50-day moving average on an end of day close basis, the shares could obviously at least initially retest £1.97 at the November peak, but even retest the best levels of the year to date through £2.50. But upside really dependent on there being no end of day close back below the 50-day line at £1.32. Sticking with the pharma or biotech area, we've got Tiziana, which has had a bit of a recovery since announcing that it was leaving its friends at on the AIM market. Here we've got a nice break on the close yesterday of that falling wedge and the 20-day moving average. So that's certainly is a plus after the bumping along the bottom price action that we've had since early November. The view now is that while there's no end-of-day close back below the broken November resistance line at 80 pence, we could head up towards the 200-day moving average at £1.11, a bit like the setup that we had for Synergen. Hopefully, if you're a bull at the stock, we'll have some kind of, or the similar kind of bullish response there. Also, bullish divergence in the RSI window, so the lower low for December at 72 pence, matched by a higher RSI trace, so that was and is potentially a positive on the technicals. Back to the hourly chart flow, and it's another new company to the stock market, Tirupati Graphite. Here we've got the hourly chart, and what you can see here is that we've got the floor of a rising trend channel there running through 55 pence. Top of the channel probably towards 75 or 80 pence, and that could be seen hopefully over the next month or so. The stop loss for the bulls, initially an end of day close back below the peak that we had at the beginning of the week at 56 pence. So while we're above that, still looking for around 80 pence, and only really back below the floor of the December channel at 53 pence, really delaying the upside scenario for Tirupati. Just a couple of stocks to go now. The first one is Vela, which again, very popular potential recovery situation in the wake of news that it's had today. Here you can see that we've got break of the 20-day moving average and recent resistance around 0.07 pence, which happened earlier in the session. we really need to see an end-of-day close or a weekly close back above 0.07 here to cement the idea that the stock is on its way to the upside and potentially heading for a top of November triangle target as high as 0.12. I suppose if you're cautious on this situation, which some may very well be, you'd be looking for a clearance of the 50-day moving average just below 0.08. On to a less fiddly situation, and one of this year's best performers, Wishbone Gold. Here we've got the rising trend channel, or rising highs and lows that we've had over the recent months. Top of the channel currently heading towards 20 pence. Floor of the channel around the 11 pence level, so while we're above 11, looking for 20. If you're looking for a new buy trigger, then it would be any end of day close today, back above 12 pence, which was actually basically what we said previously, above 12, looking for 18 to 20 pence on Wishbone Gold. That's it for me today. Hopefully more updates over the weekend.